by telling us what community-led housing is and how it's different to, say, housing associations or social housing, which a lot of people may be more familiar with.
Okay, so hi everyone. Community-led housing is housing that involves the community or a community all the way through. We feel that people know what kind of housing they need, what kind of housing they want, what kind of housing is good for them, and when people get involved in designing the kind of housing they want, making decisions about it, all the way through the process, and then living in it and having some hand in managing that housing as well, that's what we would call community-led housing. It doesn't always start with the community, it can start in many different ways, but if there's community involvement through the process, that's really the key thing.
So in effect, that's quite different from, say, housing associations, although many housing associations are involved in community-led housing. We won't get into the technicalities of that, but it's quite different in it. It's not about a socially responsive provider of housing or affordable housing. It is totally about people who live in that housing being completely in control of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not to do housing associations down, because many of them actually started as community-led housing organisations. A lot of them have grown and have maybe moved away from some of those roots of community control, for example, and tenant involvement and engagement. But some of the smaller ones are still very much involved with their communities and have a lot of community engagement and involvement. But yeah, community-led housing is a broad spectrum as well, across the country, and even in Leeds there's examples of many different ways.
Yeah, tell us about some of those examples, because there's different types of community-led housing. I mean, we're not going to go through them, but in Leeds we've got some very famous examples like Lilac and Chaco, who were over there, right the way through to the Mistress Lane development that you're developing, or part of the Climate Innovation District. So tell us about some of the big schemes that we've got in Leeds.
Sure, so we've got a great example in the room, which is Chaco, and some people here representing Chaco, so go and talk to these great folks. They've been working on their scheme for a number of years, putting in loads of blood, sweat and tears, and really rooted in the community in Chapeltown, creating, they're on site right now, so they're seeing the fruit of their labours, creating homes that community wants and needs. Amazing cooperative setup where there's going to be growing space, I believe, play space for kids, family housing, housing for older people as people grow older, and a lot of cooperation and sharing resources.
Effectively, they're basically setting up an intentional community, aren't they? So rather than just people coming to live in there, you commit to being part of that community. It's a co-housing project, that's the name for it. And as you say, there will be like a common house, there'll be growing facility, all that kind of thing. You don't just go and rent or buy your house and say, I'm going to be a good neighbour. You go and live in Chaco because you want to be part of, an integral part of that community.
Yeah, that's right. And another example I mentioned is some of the empty homes work that's been going on in Leeds for decades now. I used to work at Canopy Housing, which is a really good example of this, where, and Latch is another example, and Gippsland does some of this work, where these organisations get hold of empty homes, long-term empty homes, often with help from the council, and they renovate these empty homes with the help of local volunteers and homeless people who then actually move into the homes that they've created for themselves and their affordable housing. And there's loads of great stuff there, like training opportunities and well-being and so on. And you get to know your neighbours as you work in your house and that kind of thing. So there's some fantastic examples, and I suppose because we're talking about kindness, I thought I'd touch on that, if that's okay. Just kindness in housing, and I think one of the starkest contrasts is between some private developer housing, which is just purely for profit, building your 4-bed houses in the outskirts of cities, try and make the most profit possible. Tiny gardens, no play space, no consideration about local services, that kind of thing. And the driver is profit, and they only really worry about standards because they have to comply with some standards around building regs and so on, but very rarely go above and beyond. And community-led housing is kind of the opposite of that, because it's pretty much always not for profit. So that the profit motive is not there. It's about people and what they need. It's about the planet as well. And I think kindness to the planet, concern and consideration for the planet is so key. And at Leeds Community Homes, we're actually involved in the Climate Action Leeds programme that's live now across the city for the next 4 years. Because we think it's so important. And community-led housing activists, in my experience, are always concerned about climate and the planet, and the housing they create is always better way better than the average housing that's created in terms of environmental sustainability.
Yeah, because I think it's fair to say, as I said, we're not going to go into a technical description of the different types of community-led housing. I should say I work in community-led housing as well, that's how I do know. I haven't just read this on the website and known I actually worked as Steve for many years at these community homes, and I also work nationally as well. But, a lot of the people who create community-led houses and homes will never live in them, particularly community land trusts. They won't. They're just people who want to make sure that there is affordable, good housing in their community, which meets the needs of the community, is there for the community and is there forever. A really good example of a project me and Steve worked on together was a community share offer, which is where people buy shares as a way of raising money, for a hall in Tottenham. And this is the Cold Valley Community Land Trust. And we worked on that because basically there were 2 homes at either side of this hall. The hall is in community hands, the hall is a community space. And we wanted to make sure the homes on either side stayed affordable homes forever. And in order to do that, we had to raise money to buy the homes. So basically, we didn't get bought up by people and become part of gentrification. And they raised the money for a community share offer, which we had the honour of working with them on the comms. We were helped along with Downton Abbey actor Kevin, who helped us kind of get the message out there. But that was a group of people, and they've set up loads of homes in Tompton, in Hebden Bridge. They're doing all sorts, and none of those people will ever live in them. They're doing it because it's right for their communities, and also because it gives people good, affordable housing. Tell us a bit about the Mistress Lane project that Leeds Community Homes is working on at the moment, because again, talking about kindness, one of the things that's really key about the Mistress Lane Community Homes project, which is in Armley, it's not just been about the fact that it's going to create really high quality, nice, affordable housing in Armley. It's also that it's been designed for the community around it, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's quite fitting that we're in a Leeds City Council building actually, because Leeds is a great place to do community-led housing, it has been for decades, and Mistress Lane is an example of where the council has been involved and is helping with the process of creating those homes. And they've been a key partner in all of the different examples we mentioned, including Chaco, Canopy, and the others. Even Lilac, couldn't happen without council support. And so it's a good place, Leeds, and it shows the importance and the possibilities, the potential that local authorities have got for supporting community-led housing. So in Mistress Lane, the council came to us with an A1 piece of paper and said, look at this site, it's really difficult, do you think you might be able to do anything with it? And we said, absolutely, we'd love to try and make something work there. Several developers have looked at it over the years since the housing that was on it was demolished in the early 2000s. But they all said, no, we can't make this stuff up. So,
you just couldn't make it financially work, would they? Because of the land,
right.
Because of the house prices in the area.
Yeah, because the values are really low there, even though there's high housing need in that area. So we've come up with a potential design for a scheme there with 36 affordable units that we can make work financially, we believe. And we've just got planning permission from the council in the last 6 months. And PEG helped us over a couple of years of doing several events going on to the community, meeting the kind of faith on the common, and then doing events in the local library building, asking people what they wanted to see on that site. And we've got loads of great ideas. We've incorporated them all. We've got a really interesting landscape architect involved who's looking at growing spaces on there, kids' play areas.
And central to that design has been the fact that this bit of land is used by loads of people to walk across to get from the main road, from the bus stops, through to other parts of Armley. And right from the start, we said, didn't we, the design has to still encourage people to walk through. This isn't about the people who live in that area being able to say, no, walk through. This is about the community. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We want it needs to be community-led housing, and we absolutely want the whole community around there. Anyone who's interested in either living there or just being involved in helping shape it, to keep being involved with us on that. We've got a Facebook group. If you just search up Mistress Lane Housing, Leeds Community Homes, it'll come up.
And of course, the other thing going on, the kindness thing, we've only got a couple of minutes left to finish there. Going back to this whole question about community share office, because part of it's going to be financed by money that individuals have put in to help make this happen. Individuals who won't live there. And it's not the only scheme that you're putting money from community share offering, because you've got as well, I think it's 15, I can't remember the exact number, flats and homes within the Climate Innovation District. Flats and homes which can be peppered through, so people who live there will not know who's in the subsidised social housing or community-led homes and who's paid for price, which I think is a good thing. But that's come out of the kindness of other people who put their money in, haven't they, to make this good housing happen.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're doing a tour of that site tomorrow, and we've still got a very small number of places. If you check out Twitter, the People Powered Homes Twitter handle or the Leeds Community Homes, you'll see, you might be able to snatch the last place on that. But yeah, I mean, this is a good example of not all private developers being terrible, because Situ are brilliant actually. They've got really great environmental credentials. They're building passive houses on there, beautiful place, transforming that part of the city. The first family housing in the city centre for probably 80 years.
And again, they've designed it so that people from Cross 3 are able to get more easily into town. They've designed it deliberately to encourage people to walk through.
That's right, and it's a really beautiful place, and we're lucky enough that they approached us and said, look, our values are really in harmony around the environmental stuff. We love what you're doing with the community. Shall we partner? Could you be our Section 106 affordable homes partner? So we're going to be using the share issue money that Peg mentioned to buy 16 homes on that site, and they will be affordable homes forever as part of that development. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and it's a great partnership between a private developer and a community organisation with help from the council.
Yeah, absolutely. And just should say, loads of community-led housing starts partnership between housing associations as well as community-led housing schemes. I mean, there are schemes up and down the country now that are being financed through people putting into community share offers. It is really amazing. I mean, it is an investment, so people do get a return on their money, but it's very small, to be honest. I don't think you do it because you want to make a lot of money, you do it because you want to put your money to some good. Let's just finish very briefly, Steve, by saying what else is in the pipeline, what else are you working on? Because Leeds Community Homes, Stroke People Powered Homes, you support the schemes. You may develop some schemes like Mistress Lane, you support the schemes very quickly. Just tell us what else, what's coming up soon in terms of people powered housing around here.
Thanks, Peg. Yeah, just very quickly, we've set up a subsidiary called People Powered Homes, and that is now the regional hub for the whole of West Yorkshire and South Yorkshire, supporting groups all over there. We're planning another share issue for next year, so look out for that. We're working with groups all around the region and also nationally. We're helping some of those community-led housing groups to develop and become registered providers themselves.
Which is basically housing associations.
So some are moving in that direction. And we're always on the lookout for more opportunities, more sites and schemes, and community groups that want to get involved in doing this stuff. So if you are interested, you can see me or get in touch. Or if you know anyone. And the other big thing we're doing is we're the housing partner in the Climate Action Leeds programme, which we think is really important. We're working on that with a couple of our associates, including Claude Hendrickson and Dave Brown, who are doing important work in working with diverse communities around Leeds as well. So we're working with community groups in Chapeltown and other groups as well in different areas. So all of that's part of what we do.
Brilliant. I mean, everything from, you're working with groups of people through community land trusts who just want to create affordable housing. You're working with community centres and community organisations who also want to move into housing. You're working with groups like Chaco or there's an LGBT housing group. You're right across the patch. You're supporting the groups who want to make community-led housing. Steve, Hoey, these community homes, thank you very much.